Good evening, Niner fans. How are we doing? It was a fabulous Friday. It was a busy day, man. I was working. I wish I had today off because it would have been better to be live all day with you guys. But hey, we're here now. What a day, man. There's so much that happened. We're going to talk about all the players the 49ers signed. They signed some new guys. They got some older players returning, some they re-signed some players. It was a busy day, and the NFC West had some shocking news. I mean, just a lot of things happened. Restructures. I just everything was amazing today. I don't know, man. The 49ers, I said it on Monday because a lot of people were getting upset. I said it's slow cooker season, and I really knew John Lynch takes his time. He's not just gonna do everything in 1 minute. It's just you gotta have patience, and that's what the 49ers showed us today. Is you gotta have patience, ladies and gentlemen. And that 49ers cooked, man. I woke up and I was like, oh, they are cooking. It was a busy day. And we got to get all to it. So what's up, Christine? What's up, Deb Supreme? My thoughts on Campbell. We'll talk about him. Blooming says, I woke up inside your post with George Kittle breaking and my heart dropped. There was a lot of heart dropping news, I bet. But shout out to George Kittle. Let's talk about that early in the morning first. So first big part of this morning, we wake up and Javon Hargrave restructured his contract. He saved up. He opened up $6 million in cap space. Boom! First domino. It's like, okay, what are they cooking? Boom! George Kittle comes back and says, I'm restructuring my contract. $10 million in cap space. That's $16 million between two players. What are they cooking? But this is what I've kind of figured out. Of course, the 49ers signed some free agents today. Of course, they restructured those two guys. They also restructured Fred Warner. They also restructured Kyle Juszczyk. 4 veterans. And this is what Mike Silver said about a week or so ago, that veterans are going to be asked to make some tough decisions. 49ers are going to be having to deal with some big consequences of all the money that they have tied up to these players. The big consequence was losing Eric Armstead. He was the one of the players that was asked a tough decision on taking a pay cut, and he says no. He bet on himself. He asked for his release. The 49ers granted it to him, and he ultimately signed with the Jaguars. So we know that. George Kittle, Fred Warner, Kyle Juszczyk, Hargrave said, okay, we'll restructure for the better of the team. They know how this system works. They know that, hey, guess what? Brandon Ayuk's the next guy that has to get paid, just like we all got paid. We all got down, and developed and went through the pay system. We went and put in our hard work, and then the 49ers rewarded us. All those guys, Nick Bosa, Debo, every year the 49ers reward their star players that they draft, that they develop every year. I mean, look at that. Fred Warner, Niners drafted him. George Kittle, Niners drafted him. Fred Warner, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, all those guys, the Niners drafted them. Debo Samuel, the Niners drafted him. Nick Bosa, the Niners drafted him. And they paid them all. And every once in a while, in a couple of years, the 49ers say, hey, we need you to take a restructure. And they usually do it. And if you do, cool, that's great because it's good for the team. And they did it again today with Hargrave and Kittle. And you know what? It's so they can get the next guy that needs to get paid. This year, Brandon Ayuk. And I'm sure he's going to get paid. The team wants him back. This is their gesture of saying, all right, Brandon Ayuk's the next one. And then next year, Brock Purdy's going to need to get paid. So they'll probably ask Nick Bosa to take a pay cut and Debo Samuel, et cetera, et cetera. The 49ers, they just are smart, man. They have team players, and these guys want to win a championship, ladies and gentlemen. They want to win a championship. They'll restructure their contract unless you want the money and you got to go somewhere. And it is what it is. And I have no ill will towards Armstead. I agree with, him. He wants to get his money, and that's what matters. He has a family, and I completely agree with him going. And he got a big contract with the Jaguars. So kudos to Armstead. But the rest of these players, they want to win a championship. And today, Armstead, he did say goodbye to the 49ers. I want to read his post to you guys because it was nice, well thought out. I think it deserves us to read it for the fans. So let's read what Armstead says. He says, for 1/3 of my life, I've been a Niner, a chubby little kid from Sacramento, grew up and became a man in the Bay. I appreciate every moment of my time there, the ups and the downs. They all made me who I am today. I have met so many amazing people who have had a huge impact on my life. I'm so grateful that God put me right where I needed to be for 9 years. To my teammates, I want to thank you for the bonds we built and which are unbreakable and what we'll cherish the most. Thank you to the amazing York family for entrusting me with so much. I hope I represented you well. Thank you to all the staff, from the head coach to the facilities personnel. Buildings don't make places special, people do. Thank you to the best coach I've had, Chris Kasurik. Gives a shout out to Chris Kasurik because you have changed my life. Last but not least, Niner faithful, thank you for the support, cheers, passion, and inspiration. I felt all of it. Probably felt some of those negative comments too, but that was a really well thought out, thank you to the Niner fans. After 9 years, I think that was a very good message. Interesting that he shout out Chris Kasurik. And again, he's the one that didn't take the pay cut or, didn't take less money. I wish him nothing but the best. But the rest of those guys, they did. Niners opened up $12 million in cap space plus his $18 million. I think all of this money that they've generated, obviously they've been able to sign some players, but I think a lot of it is in order to bring back Brandon Ayuk. They're good. 49ers have a surplus of cap space. Maybe they can go make one more big move, but I also think the big move that they're trying to do is make sure they get Brandon Ayuk. That's my thoughts on the whole situation. So, yeah, big news this morning. We woke up and we saw George Kittle restructure his contract. Javon Hargrave restructured his contract. Fantastic news for the 49ers. Team players, they want to win. Who knows how much more years these guys left? Fred Warner and George Kittle and Trent Williams and Debo and all these guys. How many more years do they have left? I don't know. So it's nice to see that they are coming together for the better of the team. And you know what? After that, the 49ers got to business. John Lynch cooked, baby. Cooked it. He cooked it in a pot, mixed it up like gumbo, and he says, all right, we've been slow cooking it long enough. We've been slow cooking all week. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. He started with John Feliciano, re-signing the man to a one-year deal. Feliciano was a very good player, solid veteran. He can play anywhere along the line. I think he could start. He can be a backup. He could be, rotational player. He's like a Dan Brunskill, Swiss Army knife. Boom, that was the first big move. I liked Feliciano. Lynch said he wanted to bring him back. Feliciano said he wanted to come back. Twitter comments, whatever, that's all water under the bridge. John Lynch says he apologized. It's all good. It is what it is. We needed him. They needed offensive line depth and starters. And Feliciano is really good. One of the top graded guards in run blocking, according to PFF. I know PFF's not the gospel, but he was among the best in zone blocking and run blocking grades. So take it with a grain of salt, but he was a very good offensive lineman, especially at right guard. He rotated with Burford. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts this year. I'm sure that he would start this year. So my man Greedy says the blueprint will be missed. Yeah, Armstead will be missed, man. I love the guy. Again, nothing but love and respect for Armstead. So, what else? So, yeah, big time news for Feliciano. And then right after that, the 49ers, they brought back another veteran, Chris Conley, a Super Bowl and playoff hero. This guy was one of the heroes in the postseason. Like this guy, Chris Conley, made some big plays. He's ready to run back. He posted on Instagram. Actually, before I get to Chris Conley, one more note on Feliciano. His Instagram post was very, very specific when he says, one more ride. He said, one more ride. So to me, it tells me that this is John Feliciano's last year in the NFL, according to that Instagram post. One more year, one last ride. This is his 10th year in the league. So big-time veteran, has been playing for a while, 10 years, a decade. And now he says one last ride. So it's nice that he's coming back, finishing his, his story, his career with the Niners. So I love Feliciano, man. Good player. And again, he came back on a one-year deal. And another guy that came back on a one-year deal was wide receiver Chris Conley. Chris Conley was a fantastic veteran for this team. I like the guy. Fourth, fifth receiver, good veteran, good for the clubhouse. In the playoffs, this man came alive. He came alive in the playoffs. I think that the Niners need to keep him around, and hopefully he gets a little bit more action. Again, he's a veteran. He's just that extra guy in case there's an injury. In case of injury, break glass, right? you have Debo, you have Ayuk, you have Jennings. Those are your main guys. If one of them gets banged up, Chris Conley showed that he could step up and, have some clutch moments. So I loved it. Good to see him come back. He had a really good chemistry with Brock Purdy in the playoffs. Hope he can build on it and continue his next, chapter in his career. It was good to see that. I like that guy. I really like Chris Conley, solid veteran. I'm glad they brought him back. I'm happy for the guy. And then after that, the 49ers started signing some defensive players. And the 49ers went on a defensive rampage. They went on a defensive rampage all week. Actually, it's been defense, defense, defense. So first off, boom, a guy that they were looking into yesterday, according to Matt Miyoko, they officially signed him. Linebacker Devondre Campbell. They signed him to a 1-year deal. He's a former Packer. He was a former 2021 All-Pro player. I really like this signing. The other day, they lost out on Eric Kendricks. He changed his mind. We all know that crazy story. But you know what? The 49ers made up for it, and they got Devondre Campbell, again, former All-Pro, really good player. He's a guy that could come in. They could take pressure off of Dre Greenlaw on having to return too fast. He doesn't have to rush. So Greenlaw could take his time. They have good rookie running linebackers from last year that are going to be sophomore linebackers, D. Winters and Jalen Graham. Now you have another veteran, and they can kind of take their time in easing in. So I really like this. Devondre Campbell, very good player. He went on his Instagram and he posted, "Someone is about to get a great football player that's been badly misused." He says, "Oh, well, let's get it, though." This guy is ready to prove himself. Shots to the Packers, says that they didn't use him well. And then he said, "Niner gang, let's get it," on his Instagram. So he is fired up, ready to roll. I like his energy coming in. After that, the 49ers, they went and signed a special teamer, a defensive back, Chase Lucas of the Lions. He played 296 special team snaps for the Lions last year. Again, he's not a starter, but he could come in and really help bolster the special teams unit. Gunner, he's very athletic. The Niners need help on special teams. They struggled there in terms of production and special teams. And you know what? Offense, you want to make sure that's great. Defense, you want to make sure that's great. People forget about special teams. This guy is a quality player in special teams, a gunner that's probably going to get a lot of opportunities for the Niners. Again, 296 snaps in special teams. So Chase Lucas, if you guys remember, he had a little altercation with Diamo Lenore and the 49ers after the NFC Championship game. I'm sure their first meeting in the locker room is going to be a little funny, but hey, I love this guy. He stood on business. And I think he's going to bring a lot of energy to the 49ers special teams. And then right after that, about 30 minutes later, boom, the 49ers went and grabbed another cornerback, Isaac Yiadom, formerly of the Saints. He had 14 pass breakups. Very solid. He was underrated. He started to start towards the tail end of the season. He was graded at 80.4 in his PFF passing coverage. He had a really solid second half of the season where he started on the outside. So a guy that could come in, maybe play the nickel if they want to test him there, maybe compete with Lenore on the outside. Who's going to play the outside? But I think Lenore would be the guy that you want, unless you feel this guy could play the outside better. And then if Lenore is better on the inside. So I like this guy, good depth. And not only that, he gives competition to the youngsters, Womack and Darrell Luter. So good signing, a very good signing. 49ers, they were busy today. John Feliciano, Chase Lucas, Chris Conley, Isaac Yiadom. Good moves, good stuff. Good. And Devondre Campbell. Very, very good day for the San Francisco 49ers. I liked it. And now, the big news of the day. I didn't have this on my bingo card. The big news of the day. Holy moly, the NFC West got flipped upside down. So I'd like to take a minute to sit right there and let me tell you a story how Jimmy Garoppolo is back in the NFC West. Are you kidding me, ladies and gentlemen? The Rams signed Jimmy Garoppolo to be their backup quarterback. Oh, my God. I damn near had a conniption. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. Jimmy Garoppolo to the freaking Rams, man. And right before that, though, the big news of the day, Aaron Donald retired after 10 years, a legendary career. Aaron Donald, man, shout out to AD. This guy's with the dog, one of the best of the best. His beef with Debo was iconic. He brought out the best in the 49ers offensive lineman. He made Daddy Brunskill, if you know what I mean. He brought the daddy out of Dan Brunskill, made him a dog. So Aaron Donald retires. That shuffles up the NFC West. That's a big time move for the Rams. That really shakes them up. And then they go and bring Jimmy Garoppolo to soften the blow. Honestly, Jimmy Garoppolo is closer to Hollywood, so now I think it's a little bit easier for him to get into acting. I've always said if Jimmy Garoppolo was on a movie, he could play like a quarterback. Like, you know, those football movies, he looks like he's a guy that could play a quarterback, and now he's had formal training. Maybe he can go into acting. I don't know, but I was laughing so hard that Jimmy Garoppolo last year goes to the Raiders, and now he goes to the Rams. He's got to be trolling the Niners at this point. Unbelievable. It's so crazy. And then people in the memes were classic. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, now he just, McVay just wants the playbook. Did Jimmy know the playbook? No disrespect. Did Jimmy know the playbook, though? Did he know the playbook? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. They lose Aaron Donald and they bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. I was shook. I couldn't. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, you lose Aaron Donald. Like, can you imagine you're a Rams player? Imagine you're like Puka or like Cooper Kupp, and you're like, oh, you're seeing the news. You're like, Aaron Donald, no. And then you're like, Jimmy Garoppolo, no. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. Those two things happened on the same day. Oh my God. My man Cosmo says, sorry, the Rams are still improving. Oh, the 49ers are shopping in the bargain bin. 49ers shop in the bargain bin every year, and they improve. Because you got good quality coaches. If you want to tell me that the Rams are improving after losing Aaron Donald, you're crazy. Yes, they got Cam Curl yesterday, but the 49ers have a quality roster all over the field. I don't know. I don't think that the Rams are doing a better job than the Niners, especially when they lose Aaron Donald. I'm not going to underestimate the Rams, Cosmo, because I know they have a pretty solid team. They draft good. They found Puka, right? He's a fantastic receiver. I know they'll be good and competitive, but losing Aaron Donald is a huge blow to that team. You have to understand. You can't just replace Aaron Donald overnight. You're not going to get a guy just slide in and take over a Hall of Famer spot. And the thing is, whoever they get to replace Aaron Donald is going to have the weight of the world on his shoulder. It's going to be so much pressure to replace Aaron Donald. That's a tough one. And you know what? Ian's right. They have to replace Matt Stafford soon. He might be the next guy retiring. I don't know if Stafford's going to retire after this season, but it's getting there. You think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to replace Matt Stafford? No, they're going to be looking elsewhere. But if Matt Stafford gets hurt, he's a little older. He's had a lot of injuries. If Matt Stafford gets hurt, they're going to be throwing Jimmy Garoppolo out there. See how it goes. I'm not underestimating the Rams, but I'll tell you what, that is a huge blow to their team, losing Aaron Donald. Woo! I understand the Niners need an offensive line. A lot of people want them to, but there haven't been really quality players that the Niners could get in free agency, and they had to address their defensive holes. They have 10 draft picks. I think they'll go in the draft and get some linemen. Again, Feliciano, I think, is okay. Actually, better than okay. It's Colton McKivitz, the right side. They got to beef that up. But I feel like the 49ers, they have the same team really on offense. And that same team got them to the Super Bowl. So they need one more quality guy. Maybe they trade up. Maybe they make a move during the draft. Who knows? But they still have one more. I think they still might have one more trick up their sleeve. If they can go get an elite right tackle, it's game over. Because I think this offensive line is better than people want to give them credit for. Although it's been an issue for them when it's a big game. And again, Colton McKivitz definitely needs to be upgraded for. He wouldn't be a bad swing tackle, like the backup guy, emergency guy, but I don't think he should be the starter. And I agree with you there. So I agree. We do have to cut fat off, and that's what they did this offseason. They got rid of players that weren't cutting their weight, that were injured. And at the end of the day, I feel like the 49ers overall, they did a good job in free agency. They got some key veterans. They replaced, you replaced Oren Burks with Devondre Campbell. Oren Burks sold us in the Super Bowl. I think Campbell's better, right? They replaced Kinlaw with Jordan Elliott. Or they replaced Kinlaw and Armstead with Jordan Elliott and Malik Collins. I think we upgraded there. You replaced Chase Young and Randy Gregory with Leonard Floyd. That's an upgrade over there. I really do. Leonard Floyd has been averaging 9 sacks for the last 4 years, at least 9 sacks. I think that's a big upgrade over there on the other side of Nick Bosa. So you bring back Feliciano, very good. You bring back Colton McKivitz. I know he's not everybody's favorite, but he knows the system. He's decent. He could be a swing tackle. And overall, you brought in some cornerbacks that could compete and special teamers. So I don't think it's horrible for the 49ers what they've done in free agency. So Oren is still getting cooked. I heard that he let up another catch. Christine says Kyle just needs to know how to use them right. Absolutely. And we got rid of Steve Wilkes. We'll see how the new defensive coordinator goes. I honestly think the 49ers still might have one more big move up their sleeve. I think they might go and get a safety. Quandre Diggs is out there. Julian Blackman's out there. And Justin Simmons is out there. So maybe one of those 3 guys comes to the Niners. But overall, I feel like the Niners have done a good job in this free agency. I don't think they've lost. I don't think it's like an A free agency. I don't think it's an F. I think it's a B. Honestly, I've given this free agency a solid B. They cut money up. They've saved some salary cap space so they can bring back Brandon Ayuk. They added some nice depth, and the players they added are durable. Armstead and Kinlaw were injury prone. We know that. And then Chase Young, inconsistent. Randy Gregory, he's an old man who's been inconsistent throughout the last couple of years. You know, you needed him as a rental. You didn't need him as a full-time starter. And now you got Leonard Floyd, who can become a very good starter for this 49ers defensive line. So, and then they got Yetur Gross-Matos, whose depth, he could set the edge. He's better than Javon Kinlaw has been over his career, if you want to talk about it. Kinlaw had one really solid year last year where he was healthy. But other than that, he's been playing catch-up because of the injury. So overall, 49ers brought in durable replacements for guys that they just didn't hit on. So now you're right. They have to get the draft right, Peter Parker. I think they have to have a couple of dogs. But that's what the 49ers do every year. They go get some dogs, they draft them, they develop them, and then they pay them after 3-4 years. But we will have to see how they draft without Adam Peters. So it's not like it's like, oh, here come the Niners. They're going to cook the draft. They don't have Adam Peters this year. It is going to be a little different. We'll see how they operate. I could see them trading. Who knows? Niners got a lot of tricks up their sleeve left, I think. So overall, what do you guys think? What are your grades on the 49ers free agency? Again, I think it's a B. I think they did a very good job. I like what they did. I love Feliciano. Honestly, Feliciano gave us one of the best quotes of the day when Aaron Donald retired. He says, the best day ever. I re-signed with the 49ers and Aaron Donald retired. That was a fantastic quote. And how about Kyler Murray, man? Kyler Murray had me cracking up. He said, thank God when Aaron Donald retired. He says, don't come back. Let's take a look at all these grades. Media says B minus. Cosmo a C minus. Woo! Debtopia B minus. Cosmo's tough. He's a tough customer. To make happy. So I get it though. You guys want offensive linemen. I like it. I get it. Stay by your word. Stay strong by your motives. Don't make me switch your mind up. I like it. You stick with your guns. Blooming says, I wouldn't be opposed to trading out of the first round. We miss so much. Rather have more darts on the ball. Ooh, it's not a bad take. The 49ers do make more misses than hits. Gabriel says a B+. Peter Parker says, I like the additions. Number-wise, their stats are just as good or solid. Not always the best player. It's about the right player. I like that take from here, Peter Parker. And that's what the 49ers typically do is they try to get the right player. Maybe not the splashy player. If it's up to us, we'd have all the Madden splash players. But the 49ers know it can't happen that way. They need to save money. They go in the bargain bin a little. I agree. But they do it so they can sign their big players. They have 7 All-Pros, and they have 9 Pro Bowlers. So it's not like the roster is gutted. You still have a great addition. My man Cosmo, I get it. I want to win too. Trust me. As much as you want to win. I'm tired. I'm getting old. I got gray hairs setting in everywhere. I'm going to be 40 years old next month. I want the 49ers to win just as much as you. California Man says a B+. Blooming says B. Cody, WWE fan, B+. They got to finish the story just like Cody. My man Media says, I wouldn't want Cosmo to grade my schoolwork. Stay away from his grading. Gabriel B plus. Um, Media says, I am not a huge fan of the Campbell signing. Explain your actions, Media. Why don't you like the addition of the Devondre Campbell signing? I think it's a low risk signing. He's hungry, got a chip on his shoulder, bag of Doritos on his shoulder. I like the move. He's a guy that can come in. Again, doesn't have to start every game, but he could come in and take pressure off of Dre Greenlaw. I don't think it's bad. I think he's better than Eric Kendricks. Again, this was your makeup linebacker because Eric Kendricks sold us. He rope-a-doped us. So you had to get one. And I think Devondre Campbell's better than Eric Kendricks. But what's up? Cody, appreciate you for following me on Twitter. California Man says, I like the Campbell signing. Uh-oh, Media and California Man. They might be beefing here because Media doesn't like the Campbell signing. Explain yourself. Why don't you like the signing? Hey, Peter Parker says, Campbell is definitely better than Oren Burks. I mean, Oren Burks, boy, got cooked. He was a decent special teamer, but yet last year in that Super Bowl, this past season in the Super Bowl when he had to step up for Greenlaw, liability, unfortunate. My man Media says, I think he's solid for depth. His coverage has been falling off. See how he does with the Niners. He has had a down year. I get it. My man Cosmo says, Cap can't keep running it back. Time for change. Get younger and faster. Eventually, agree. At some point, the 49ers are going to have to cut ties with players, and that's what they do every year, though. Let's look at Jimmy Ward is gone. Armstead's gone. Every year they lose some key veterans. It's unfortunate. We hate to see it, but they lose certain players, and they keep a lot of their core guys. But in a few years, Kittle's going to be one of those guys that's gone. Warner's going to be a guy that's gone. Trent Williams is going to be a guy that's gone. Debo. Eventually, these guys aren't going to be there. So I hate to think about that, but you're right. Every year we lose certain players. It's sad, but we have to move on. Every team loses big players, just like we talked about with the Rams. They lost Aaron Donald. That to me, I'm still shook. I can't believe Aaron Donald retired, man. 10 years, a veteran, Hall of Famer, first ballot. The moment he's allowed to enter the Hall of Fame, he's in it. Guy was great, man. Great. I want to share this this post from Joshua Garnett. I don't know if you guys remember Joshua Garnett. First round pick for the 49ers back in 2016, former Niners offensive lineman. He had a story on his Instagram. He posted, this was funny. Let me read this to you. So he says, now that Aaron Donald is retired, I can tell the story about the most stressful experience of my life. He says, the year is 2018. We're playing the Rams. We being the 49ers. He was on the Niners. He says, we're playing the Rams in the last game of the season. He said, Aaron Donald needs 3 sacks to set the single season record for sacks. He goes, first quarter, he gets 2 sacks. He goes, and now he needs what would be, at the time, 1 sack to set the NFL single season record. He goes, one of our guards goes down early in the second quarter, and I come in, hand cast and all. So I guess he had a hand cast. He says, I told myself, I'll be damned before they have me on SportsCenter being picked up and body slammed while they show the clip of his record-setting sack. He says, no one is going to want to hear shit about, oh, but I had a hand cast on, LOL. He says, they wasn't about to be showing me at his Hall of Fame induction getting whooped for the record. He goes, at that time, they had Aaron Donald, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Ndamukong Suh, and it was a fucking dogfight of a game. He said, we end up holding him off from setting the record, and I avoided going down on the wrong side of history. That's a fantastic story. Joshua Garnett didn't pan out, but his greatest moment was preventing Aaron Donald from setting history on his ass. That's funny, man. Hand cast and all. Again, Aaron Donald's going to be missed in the league. Not from the Niners. I'm not going to miss him. I love it, man. That was a good story. Golden Dragon said, what is the safety we need? I think that they might go and get Justin Simmons. There's rumors. Quandre Diggs is out there. Julian Blackmon. I think they might go and get a veteran's safety. So Media says, what are your thoughts on Chase Lucas? I mean, he's not a needle mover. It's not like, oh my God, they signed Chase Lucas. Oh my God. I think he's a decent safety, a special teams guy. And he can add, the element of being a gunner. He's a sure tackler and, he has some energy for special teams. That's it. Really, I'm not overly excited that they got Chase Lucas. That to me wasn't the biggest move of the of all. It was a small move, but I think I like it in terms of special teams. The Niners do need to improve their special teams because their special teams was very piss poor last year in many, you know, situations. So I think that's really what it's for, special teams. I think he's a decent special teamer. I don't think he's going to be like, oh my God, the Niners, did you know the Niners got Chase, they got Chase Lucas? I mean, it's not that big a deal, but he's a good special teamer. You need to have those types of players. Will he replace Ray Ray? I don't know if he could return. You know, who knows? My man Peter Parker says Lucas is going to get cut before the season anyways. I don't know if he's a return man. I don't think he's that guy. I think he's more of your gunner. He's just going to be the gunner. So we'll see. I think the Niners like him. They're going to see if he can stick with them because in training camp, yeah, he's going to see if he can actually make the final roster. So Peter Parker's right. He might get cut when the 53-man roster comes out. We'll see. You never know. Sometimes the 49ers sign these guys, they cut them, and then they bring them back to the practice squad. I could see him being like a practice squad guy if he doesn't make the final roster. So, yeah, we definitely need to attack the special teams, though, because it was not good. I think they do need to get a return man, though. He definitely was a goofball that was given a him and Diamador Lenore were going at it last year in the after the game in the NFC chat. Do you guys remember that? That was classic. I mean, they were the Lions and the Niners. They had some beef there. They had some beef at the end of that game. That was a crazy game, and let's take a look at some of these moments. Let me see if I have it. Let's take a look. See if I have it. Maybe I don't have it saved on here. Oh, I don't have it saved. I do have some other stuff that we could queue up from Aaron Donald and Deebo Samuel. This was a classic rivalry. I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss Aaron Donald and Deebo Samuel. They had some fantastic beef, man. They had some fantastic beef, those two guys. But we'll see. Let me see if I can add some of these videos to the mix. Let me see. Let's see if they allows me. Let's see if Twitter will, or sorry, YouTube will allow me. Yeah, we're gonna miss the trolling. California man says the last good return man the Niners had was Ted Ginn Jr. That is an absolute fact. Blooming Cash says the NFC is going to be much stronger this year. I think so. The Lions got better. The Packers got better. The Eagles, they loaded up. They're pretty good. You know, they lost Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, but they're going to be a good team. Christine, thank you so much for the support. She says, thank you, Raj, and being awesome. Niner updates and everything you do. Really appreciate you. I appreciate you, too. Appreciate all the fans. Actually, thank you, guys. It's been a fantastic week. It's been a great, busy week, and I want to say thank you for all the support out there. It has not been, missed. I could tell everybody has been, doing, a lot of support, showing me love, and I appreciate that. Alex says, what's up, Faithful? How you doing, boss? I'm doing great, Alex. I hope you are, too. Yeah, this is a good point here. Someone said, where's the comment? Golden Dragon says, Ronnie Bell returned as a Michigan Wolverine. Maybe he could be a return man. We'll see. We shall see what happens. Before we head out, I'm going to play.
How do you prepare for a guy like Deebo Samuel, a unique player? How do you game plan for a guy like that?
Who?
Deebo Samuel.
Who's that?
The receiver.
They did a lot of good things as far as, reverses and things like that. He just made some good plays today.
That will always go down in the history books. After that, everything else is history. We all know what happened after that. Deebo and Aaron Donald had the most legendary beef on Twitter of all time, and they always went back and forth. So a legendary competitor. The beef was funny, and it gave us some great memes and great moments. Good luck to him in his future endeavors. But you guys have a good rest of your night. That's pretty much it. We wanted to recap free agency. I think we did a good job. I think we pretty much hit on everything. Again, real quick, let's go over it. The 49ers restructured the contracts of Javon Hargrave, George Kittle, opening up $16 million in cap space. They re-signed John Feliciano to a one-year deal. They re-signed Chris Conley to a one-year deal. The 49ers also lost, the Rams lost Aaron Donald as he retired. The Rams signed quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo on a one-year deal. The 49ers brought in a couple of veterans from other teams for depth, and those guys include Isaac Yiadom, cornerback from the Saints. They added Devondre Campbell, linebacker from the Packers, and they added cornerback, defensive back, special teamer Chase Lucas from the Lions. So very busy day for the 49ers. And overall, I gave this team a B on their free agency so far. Stay tuned. We'll see what else John Lynch and the Niners are cooking. Make sure you hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. Love you. Have a good rest of your night. Go Niners.